This is the reason why I say Luffy is not ready yet. Yes, the punch was amazing, but you gotta look at the bigger and better picture. Let's get into the review.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear, running, no.
First, let's get into this color spread of Zoro and his ancestors, bro. That gave me a rush, like meeting Sanji relatives, bro. Like, that's the same rush I got from seeing this Zoro panel. Not a real deal One Piece fan if you not get a rush from seeing Zoro's ancestors. Even the dragon in the background, like Ryuma. Let's get into the chapter. So we start this chapter off where we left off at last chapter, when you got Atlas telling everybody, all the Pacifista Mark 3s, to go against the Marines. And we see this big panel of Atlas giving the order off, and it's echoing throughout Egghead. But right next to Atlas, we see the anarchy order of who can control the Mark 3 Pacifistas, and it's highlighted Vegapunk. But at the very top, there's an arrow pointing to the 5 elders. But once Atlas give that order out, the Mark 3s just start going to turn, bro. They start demolishing every Marine that they see. They're shooting laser beams everywhere. They got the Marines shaking up. They got the Marines cowering and hiding somewhere. Then we get a nice panel of Dr. Vegapunk, Atlas, and Sanji still trying to find Bonnie. And we see Vegapunk Ace actually riding on the clouds. But we see Sanji came in a clutch when he found Bonnie. So we go fast forward to Bonnie, who actually find Marines on the floor. And we see this near-death experience move that Bonnie used against one of the Marines. And the crazy thing about it, she used a projectile to actually shoot this move, this Devil Fruit power, to one of the Marines. Now, to me, this could be Bonnie's awakening. Now, essentially, the awakenings go beyond what a Paramecia can actually do. We know that Bonnie can age her opponents, right? Now, going beyond is to have one of her opponents actually see the afterlife, life after death. The move that Bonnie used is called near-death experience, and the guy that got shot seeing the Styx River. Now, if you know about the Styx River, it's the same thing as the Sansu River in Japanese mythology. To give you a basic overview, the Sansu River is where the deceased go to the cross to the afterlife, basically, right? There's 3 different ways how to cross it, but basically they're trying to get to the afterlife. But this guy laid down like he got hit with Conqueror's Haki and said to one of his subordinates, like, okay, I seen the Styx River, boss. I can't go no longer. So essentially, I think that this is Bonnie's awakening, because it go well beyond what Bonnie's actually can do with her Devil Fruit. She made somebody see the afterlife, right? She can age anybody, right, as she please. This goes beyond what Bonnie can do with Devil Fruit, and this looks like an awakening. At this point, I won't be surprised anymore if we see everybody with awakening, because of this is the second phase, right? This is the final saga of One Piece. Everybody's powerful right now. And speaking on Devil Fruits, we see a Vice Admiral named Bluegrass who actually has a ride fruit. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but she has a ride fruit where she can control anybody that she rides, and she controls this Pacifista to shoot Bonnie, and Bonnie just sitting there because, of course, the Pacifista reminds her of her father, and she's like Star Days, and we see that Sanji actually rescue her from this Pacifista. Bluegrass is a broken Devil Fruit. She could ride anybody, right? And she could take control of them, right? But we see that the retrieval mission from Bonnie is actually accomplished. We see that Dr. Vegapunk picked Sanji and Bonnie up, and we go head on to the Labo phase. And once we get into the Labo phase, we see that Kizaru and Luffy is still battling out. Now, what I meant as the bigger picture is that Kizaru is actually not trying to fight Luffy, right? Luffy's mission is actually to beat or stall out Kizaru for his family can get away. Him and his family can get away, actually. But Kizaru has 3 different missions that he needs to accomplish before even battling Luffy. Now, I can say that Kizaru's main focus is not actually trying to fight Luffy. He's just trying to complete the mission that Jay Garcia gave him. So we see that Kizaru actually fled the battle between Luffy and trying to get closer to Dr. Vegapunk. But right after that, we see everybody who has a heightened sense of observation, haki, eyes point up or ears point up, and thinks like, what is going on? What is his presence? And we see that the Vice Admirals actually know what's going to happen right now. The Vice Admirals know what's going on, and we see this strange silhouette telling the Mark 3s to stand down, right? And they listen. So we know already that this person, this omnipresence, right, this demonic presence has to be one of the 5 elders if the Pacifistas are listening to him. But the crazy thing, even not just that, we see that one of the Marines actually see this magic pentagram on the ground that's actually thunder's coming out, black smoke is coming out, right? And it's crazy to actually know what this actually is. So as this pentagram start blowing black smoke out of it, there's a call basically saying that Jay Garcia is ready to dismark on Egghead, and nobody under Commodore level should look at him. And then we see this black silhouette actually coming out of this magic pentagram. So we see the black smoke coming out, the thunder coming out, and we see this huge silhouette coming out of this magic pentagram, and it's Jay Garcia, and he looks beastly, bro. His devil fruit is the demonic creature, bro. And his demonic creature is called Ushi Oni, and it looks beastly. Ushi Oni is a devil cow, right? They got a body of a spider. It is said in Japanese folklore that the Ushi Oni, just by its gaze, it can actually unalive somebody. They say once you start looking at his gaze, you cannot stop, bro. And we seen that one of his subordinates, right, got unalive maybe by looking at him. Or I can say he was under a Commodore level and one of the Marines, a Vice Admiral, actually maybe unalive him. But it seemed like the gaze of Jay Garcia Saturn in his devil fruit unalive one of his fellow Marines. And maybe Jay Garcia's death stare has to deal with how strong of a will you have, right? Just like Big Mom. If you're not scared of Big Mom's or her devil fruit, it doesn't work against you. And maybe it works the same way with Jay Garcia. If you're not scared of Jay Garcia, if you don't have the strong will to actually conquer someone or the world, you cannot beat Jay Garcia's devil fruit. The whole One Piece fandom is going crazy to see actually the 5 elders, what their devil fruit is based on in the mythological Japanese folklore. And it seems like based off the silhouette of the 5 elders devil fruit, these demonic beings right here looks like the 5 elders, and I can't wait to actually see the rest of them being animated. I can't wait to see Oda actually draw them in the manga, bro. Like, these people are beastly, so we can all say their devil fruits are mythological devil fruit. They're mythics and they're golden mythics. But we see that Kizaru actually landed to the battle zone of Jay Garcia, Bonnie, and Sanji. And we see that Kizaru actually shot a laser beam to the path that Dr. Vegapult was going to take in. So they're actually falling, right? And once they start falling, we see that Kizaru actually try to hit them with another laser beam. But Luffy actually interrupted that. So now we get an interaction between Luffy and Kizaru again. So now at this point, we see that Luffy actually made his arms bigger. And Kizaru replied, well, you should be at your limit right now. So I feel like Kizaru could actually sense when Luffy's getting weaker and weaker. Frankie is the real reason why Luffy did what he did next, right? Frankie told Luffy, you need to do something, right? Kizaru shot a laser beam at Luffy. Get this, the laser beam actually spun Luffy clockwise, right? Because it missed Luffy, but made Luffy go into a clockwise spinning motion, right? And so once Luffy got enough velocity to actually hit Kizaru, he hit Kizaru with a white star gun. Now, this made Kizaru have stars. This made Kizaru get dazed. And maybe this attack made Kizaru go into a comatose state. Now, he may be dazed a bit, but he's not out for the count. This is why I say Luffy's not ready yet, bro. All this time, Kizaru's main attention is not on Luffy. Kizaru's main attention is actually trying to assassinate Dr. Vegapunk, right? Kizaru's main attention is not to fight Luffy, right? He's actually toying with Luffy to get away from Luffy, trying to have Luffy go to his limits, right? Kizaru's trying to achieve the mission that Jay Garcia set him up to have, right? So Luffy reached his limits, right? And once Luffy reached his limit, we seen that Jay Garcia Saturn actually seen him and said Nika. So Jay Garcia Saturn actually knows what a Nika form looks like. So we see that Kizaru's actually maybe dazed and shot off somewhere, but I don't think he's out for the count, right? I think that Kizaru underestimated Luffy's Nika mode. And that's why actually Luffy got the upper hand on Kizaru at that time. But we see that Luffy actually is not ready yet, like I said before. Just like how we got introduced to Pound Man and Dressrosa. Luffy could not withstand this gear for so long. Just like Gear 5th, he cannot withstand this gear for so long. He still got a long ways to go, right? He's not ready for Kizaru just yet, because somebody like Kizaru can actually make him go to his limits. And what's next after that? Kizaru is not like Katakuri, let him get back up. Kizaru will actually eliminate Luffy if need be. Nevertheless, this Star Gun was an amazing move for Luffy. This new introduced move, Star Gun, was so powerful, right? it hit Kizaru to a comatose state. But I can say Kizaru is not out for the count just yet. Maybe he is dazed, right? That's one thing. You always get back up when you're dazed. But Luffy is out for the count right now. We see that Jay Garcia is there. The only powerful person right there in front is Sanji. So maybe Sanji have to fight a Jay Garcia Saturn. And we're going to see exactly the link between somebody like a first commander level Sanji face off with a 5 elder Jay Garcia Saturn. And maybe that would give us a better idea of the gap between a 5 elder and Luffy. Back on Jay Garcia actually knowledging, knowing how a Nika mode or how Nika looks like. How old is Jay Garcia Saturn, right? We go back to Jay Garcia dialogue when he first came out of the pentagram, right? When he said, it's been a long time since I reached the surface. How long has it been since you reached the surface? Do you have the same thing going on as Emu, right? The Fountain of Youth? Do the 5 elders actually have the same thing going on? Because we really don't know the last person that awakened the Nikomata, right? Maybe it was Joy Boy was the last person. Or maybe somebody else did, right? It's crazy to actually know this information by just off dialogue, right? But to continue with the chapter, we see a few dialogue between Jay Garcia Saturn and Dr. Vegapunk. But right after that happened, we see that Bonnie picks up the sword and Bonnie is getting speech bubbles right in front of her or recollections of what happened. Who gave the order to Dr. Vegapunk to turn Kuma to a meaningless machine, right? Jay Garcia Saturn is the person that gave the order to Dr. Vegapunk to turn Kuma into a pacifista. Jay Garcia Saturn knew the outcome if Dr. Vegapunk went forward on turning Kuma to a pacifista, and he didn't care. And that's why Bonnie took upon herself to actually hit Jay Garcia Saturn with the sword. And I said before, Jay Garcia Saturn is pretty like got a weak spot for women, or is just Dre Bonnie herself, or maybe that he felt bad upon that order, because it seems like Jay Garcia Saturn is actually shedding blood, and maybe that's something that people are not used to, 5 elders shedding blood. And it seems like he let Bonnie do that, right? I'm pretty sure that if the theories go past of what we're thinking, that Jay Garcia Saturn, it had a Fountain of Youth and he's so old, his hockey is on a whole nother level than anybody we've seen thus far in One Piece. So I'm pretty sure his observation hockey works. Like I said before, I don't know if it's a weak spot for Bonnie. Maybe, like I said, he feels bad for doing that to Kuma, knowing that's Bonnie's father. Or maybe that this is an illusion that Jay Garcia wanted Bonnie to see. Maybe something comes with a devil fruit. Mind you, this is a mythical devil fruit, so we don't know actually what his devil fruit consists of. But it seems like Bonnie got a clean hit. Now, we're not on break next week, so we'll see exactly what's going on in the next chapter. But this chapter was 10 out of 10. There was a godly chapter. Oda cannot do any better unless we've seen Luffy versus Jay Garcia. We're not going to see. But listen, Oda nailed it on the head of this chapter. So many demonic things going on, right? Like, a lot of stuff is going on right now, and it's centered around Jay Garcia's devil fruit. And it was amazing to finally see a 5 elders devil fruit without a silhouette. Maybe those images, right, of the Japanese folklore demons are what the 5 elders devil fruits are based on. Amazing. Can't wait to see it. 10 out of 10 for the chapter. Like, comment, subscribe to get more of me and more One Piece content. Thank you for watching. Love you. Love yourself. I'm Monkey D. Schyver. Peace.